fake news, inflated news, deflated news about the value of real estate. There are so many myths about how to determine the value.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
So we're excited to invite you to another episode of The Inside Track, where we share techniques, thoughts, and tools that we all need, we all deserve. You, I, everyone, to turn our house into a home where our families thrive and we live the best life possible. And I'm Yetta Decker.
And I'm Ken Decker.
And we wanted to really dig deep on this concept of fake news. Fake news. And in real estate, that's kind of a new term, right? That's not been around that long.
That's not normally what we're known for.
No, not fake news. It's the real news, the real deal, get you the real pricing. And yet there's this concept out there right now that asking price is supposed to somehow tell us what the value of that real estate is. That's been kind of a pretty safe rule of thumb. If it didn't sell quickly, we knew that it was overpriced. And so the asking price gave us a good indication of where we were headed.
And yet many times,
right?
The buyer, like we go see a seller and they go, oh, my neighbor sold at 500, and we pull up the property. Yes, it was listed at 500, but it sold at 450.
Right.
You know, depending on the market. Now it might have been sold at 600 instead of the list price of 500.
Right.
So what it was listed for is typically the information that the general public can have, and that's not a great place to gather your information.
It's actually like the scariest place. So our biggest thing that we can offer you, and I've offered our clients all over 2,380 of them for years, for over 31 years, is access to a free, your own custom market snapshot of your neighborhood that not only gives you the asking prices, it gives you the selling prices.
Created by yours truly, Ken Decker, right here in the person.
In the person live.
Whatever that means.
I know. I don't know either. I was a little corny. Anyhow.
I'm known for that.
You are.
But I'm known for accuracy too. Accuracy
and dad jokes.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
It's a wicked combination.
It's a fascinating conversation, I'll tell you. So fake news is what's happening a lot these days in the real estate market, because it may be on the market at $450 for argument's sake. We just sold one this weekend that was on the market at $460. Fake news. It was a lie.
What do you mean by that, Yetta? What do you mean by fake news?
Fake news is it doesn't give you any sense of what the value of the house actually is. You have to go do the market research and see. I get to go do the market research, and I'm pretty good at that part. Go see what homes that were similar to that one, relevant property data. We're not looking for the identical home, the whole sense of comparable market data. And nobody thinks their home is the same as somebody else's anyway, so it's not comparable. It's just what's the relevant market data? What does it tell us? What did the homes that are relevant data to this particular property, what did they sell for 2 weeks ago or yesterday? Not what did they sell for 12 months ago, because that's got nothing to do with nothing anymore. It's, sometimes I had somebody calculate the other day, 10 years ago, the home sold for X, and we've had an average increase of X. And so that per year compounded over time. So that means that's the value of my home. It don't work like that, folks. It really doesn't work like that. If it does, it's a fluke. It's just lucky that it worked out that way, because that's not how you do it. So fake news is we often see property priced below where they should be.
Yeah, and sometimes it's, I've had people come to me and say, well, the average property is selling 10% over asking that's in multiples, so we should offer 10% over.
Right.
And that's a myth.
that's part of the whole myth, because who says that property was priced as much below market, or was it priced above market? So in this particular scenario that I was starting to share with you about, it was one at 460,
459,
and
60,
so
yeah. You like to round up. 460.
it was 459.9.
Okay, we'll give you 460 then.
$100. I'm sorry, I'm not splitting $100
I'll
bills
take your
with you. You can have it. You can have it.
Okay.
So 460. And on that particular property, she said, I'm not going a dime over 100,000 more than asking.
That's a lot.
I know. And because it was fake news.
The house was fake news at that price.
At that price. And we knew that immediately walking through. She goes, what's wrong with this? I go, nothing. They're just shopping offers. They're looking for as many people as they can gather together to bring in offers. I said, there's this other one that's pretty similar property, and it's on at 590, which is also fake news.
The opposite.
The opposite side of fake news.
Well, what do we call that?
Inflated lies.
Inflated news.
Inflated news.
Yes.
It was inflated news. And
embellished news.
Embellished news. Because it's not selling. Not now. And when it eventually sells, it won't sell for what it should have sold for. So how much percentage-wise or dollar number, this is a huge myth, is that we can set a standard rule of thumb for all property.
No. Maybe if it's in the same neighborhood, same age range, and you're selling townhouses, center unit, 3-bedroom, finished basement, ensuite bath, all around the same square footage, you can start to use that if there's enough data.
If there's enough consistent data, though, because still to say I'm only going to pay $20,000 over asking on any property, or they're all selling about 10% over, well, it depends on what did they start at. Mm-hmm. What is the starting point? Yeah. And I think that's the part that gets lost. So I had a really good conversation with my client, and I said, it's not about how much over or under asking you go on these properties, because you could go 100,000, 110,000 over on the one that is at 460 and still be getting really good value. And you could go 5,000 under on the one that's at 590 and be paying too much. Right?
Yeah.
So you can't use a number over. Because then I said, well, so the one at 590, can we go 95,000 over on that one? Because then it's not 100. And she went, no. So it's just really that myth of going with a blanket statement of how much under over. Sometimes we should be paying less for a property than they're asking, and sometimes it would be prudent to pay significantly more. We're seeing variables of property being underpriced by even 25% when it comes onto the market, which there was a time where you saw a variable of 10%. You were going, wow.
That's a lot.
Right? Because there's so much diversity in what we're asking relative to what we think we're going to sell for. There's a train of thought, ask less, get more. Ask more, get less.
That's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really interesting is, what are the buyers, what's the buyer market programmed to do?
Right.
So they're programmed right now to pay over asking.
Yes. So when something's overpriced, to start with, it's inflated news.
Nobody wants to put an offer on it because they don't want to put an offer over that asking price.
Right.
So there's actually a bargain to be held for the odd buyer who's got an astute realtor with them that says, hey, this has been on for a few weeks or a few months or whatever the case may be. Let's offer less than asking and get you a good price.
And which is what Candace did with one of our clients just the other day. And they go, well, we can't go in under asking. And Candace goes, yeah, we can, because they're overpriced. So let's go in under asking. That's why it's still sitting there 2 weeks, 3 weeks after it's been on the market.
Right.
Which is fantastic.
I've explained to many of my agents that when you're pricing, it's not about what the last one sold at. It's more what the last one was listed at. Because that's somewhere, it's either that price or someone in between what it's sold at and what it was listed at
Right.
is the right price.
So the whole idea here is buy land because they're not making any more of it, says Mark Twain, except we realize there is the odd island that still gets created, but you can't buy it for a while. So yeah, buy land now. We're grateful to be your partners in building wealth through real estate.
Moving forward with the